Shabbat Shalom on this most beautiful 10th day of August 2013. It is the 7th day of the week. Today is Saturday, and it is the Sabbath day. Welcome to this week's service on the Sabbath. What does it take to become a disciple? And are you willing to let go of all the things of this world, to sell everything you own, to pick up that heavy cross and to follow Yeshua, knowing by doing so, you will face much persecution, not only from man, from the non-believer, the unsaved, but from the brethren in the synagogues. What does it take to be a disciple today? What I want to do is ask you to get out your King James Version Bibles, turn to Matthew chapter 10. We're going to begin at verse 1. I'm going to hold off on announcements until the very end. I ask you to remain throughout today's service because we have some very important updates and very important announcements at the very end. What does it take to become a disciple? We know what it takes to become the bride. We've got to be without spot, without wrinkle. We've got to make sure that our lamps are full. We have plenty of oil. We know what it means to be born again, to be baptized in the Holy Spirit, to have the gifts of the Spirit. But what does it take to be a disciple? Are we willing to give up the lifestyle that we've grown accustomed to today? Look at modern technology. Would you be willing to become a disciple if it meant to give up the internet, to have your internet turned off? No more Facebook, no more YouTube. Would you be willing? Maybe you're not rich, but you're living comfortably and you're used to the lifestyle that you're living. You have a home. Maybe you have an air conditioner in your window, or maybe you're a little better off and you have central air. Would you be willing to sell your home, to let go of the swimming pool, to get rid of your car, to sell all your possessions, and to follow Yeshua and to pick up that heavy cross, knowing you're going to not only face persecution from man, the non-believer, the sinners of the world that are trying to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ to them. You're going to face persecution and attacks from the brethren in the synagogues. Are you ready today to take that step, that leap of faith, and to become a disciple? What does it take to become a disciple? Let's go to Matthew chapter 10, verse 1. And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. He gave them power because they chose to sell everything. They had everything of this material world to let it all go, knowing what they would face, and to follow him and pick up that heavy cross so they could be disciples and to preach the living word, his word. They let it all go and they followed him. They became fishers of men. Do you want to be a disciple? Do you want to be a fisher of men to spread out the gospel of Jesus Christ? We are the church, and he is the head of this church right here. Let's go on if we can. Let's go skip ahead to verse 16. What does it take to become a disciple today? Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. To become a disciple, he's going to not only give you the power to cast out demons, unclean spirits, and to heal the sick. Now, if you've been following my channel, if you've been joining us over at Tiny Chat, I think it was a week or so ago, we had one problem after the other. We had Bible scholar, theologian Doug Ames, and nothing was working. Everyone was getting knocked out of the room. We prayed together. We cast out. We were given the power to cast out demons, and we cast them out in Yeshua's name. And they fled. They ran. That was a lot of power given in that room the other night. But are you willing to go out and preach his word, his gospel? He's going to send you out to face the world. And can you handle it? I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. You've got to be very wise to be a disciple, to know what you're going to face. You're going to face a lot of harassment, a lot of persecution. They're going to mock you. I have been spit upon. They're going to strike you. They're going to slap you for trying to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. Your own brethren will come against you. You got to be wise as serpents, but harmless as dove. As a dove, you got to be harmless. You got to preach the gospel with love. You can't lose your temper. You can't blow up. There's a lot to becoming a disciple. But beware of men, as I was just preaching to you on, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues. Your own brethren, not only the unsaved, your own brethren. If you are trying to maybe you're going to be a watchman on the wall, or you're going to warn the brethren, but they're caught up in the ways of the world. They have not become disciples. They live in fear. They're waiting for the next earthquake, the next natural disaster. They're looking at that preacher. They're putting him on a pedestal. They're idolizing him. You can't serve God and man, but they are serving man. They idolize this preacher, this minister, this pastor up on the pulpit on a Sunday morning. And when you try to warn them and to bring them the truth and to not have fear, they will attack you. Can you handle that? You're not going to be, you think the disciples were popular? If they lived today, do you think they would have a YouTube channel with thousands and thousands and thousands of views? They were not popular at all. Are you willing to go through this for Yeshua, to pick up that heavy cross? And ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. But when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it will be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. For it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. And brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents, and cause them to put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men, for my name's sake. But he that endureth to the end shall be saved. But when they persecute you in this city, flee ye into another. For verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over the cities of Israel, till the Son of Man be come. The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. The disciple is not above his master. Brothers and sisters, I hope you are listening. The disciple is not above his master, verse 24, nor the servant above his Lord. It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master and the servant as his Lord. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall the city call them? How much more shall they rather call them of his household? Fear them not, therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known. What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light, and what ye hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Are you willing to be a disciple, to let go, sell everything you have, to be humble, to know what you are going to face, to get out and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ in the end days? Announcements filling in for me tonight will be Bible scholar, theologian Doug Ames over at Tiny Chat. We will be out in Mount Morris, right on the outskirts of Flint, for our very first annual Bibles on the Bricks. We ask if you can give to this ministry in support of Bibles on the Brits.